Hey everyone, how are you all doing today? I have a story about the first time that I rode a bike without training wheels. Now this story dates back to the age of 10, I believe I was between the ages of 8 and 12, so for the sake of the video I will say that I was 10. Anyways, this took place during an era where there was no computers, you actually went outside to have fun, which is absolutely ridiculous, but I used to like to ride my bike. The one thing that was a problem with that is that I didn't know how to ride a bike without training wheels. I felt that it was more safe to ride it without training wheels, I didn't really want to learn to ride a bike without training wheels, and I didn't really know how to steer that well. I just knew how to pedal with my feet and just go in a straight line. That's what I like to do, don't judge me. Anyways, it was the 4th of July and I believe it was around 7 to 8 p.m. because it was dark outside, it was after the fireworks, and it was before my bedtime, so I decided to ride my bike around the neighborhood. And my mom just came outside out of nowhere and was like, "Lee, it's time to ride a bike without training wheels." And I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't know how to do it. The whole steering thing, it just doesn't make sense. You can't really balance on 2 wheels. I don't want to fall over. I could hurt my head. I could be out for the season. I don't want to do this, Mom. I don't really know how. So she was like, you know what, it's time to stop being a little bitch. She obviously didn't say that, but that's what she was pretty much implying when she told me that it's time to learn how to ride a bike without training wheels. Usually you learn how to do that at the ages of like 6 to 8, and I was like 10, so I was a little bit behind and I really just needed to learn. So she made me pedal into the garage, get off my bike, and she took the training wheels off of it. While she was taking the training wheels off, she made me put on elbow pads and knee pads, like I was gearing up to go into World War III baby back bitches versus big boy bikes and I was the Sergeant General. So I put on the pads, I already had my helmet on because my parents were huge on safety for me, which they should have been and I thank them for that. But anyways, I was all ready to go. I get on my bike and my mom holds my back as we go down the driveway, and then we get into the road. Now this is the part where I have to really learn how to ride the bike without training wheels. So she starts off by putting one hand on the handlebars and one hand on my back and just says, "Go ahead and pedal and I'll just hold it straight and just learn how to pedal and go straight with the bike." So I start doing it and I got the hang of it pretty quickly. And she kept holding on, and at one point she just let go, and I didn't know that, and I just kept going. I held on to the handlebars, I was pedaling, and I was just going straight, and I was fine. So I didn't even know that she was not there anymore, and I looked back and she wasn't there. And I just panicked and I fell right off the bike. But I knew how to do it and she really taught me how. She just told me how to do it, gave me the fundamentals, and just let me go on my own. Now I did fall and I was okay, don't worry about that. But I got back up and I really knew how to ride the bike. So I got back on and I started doing it for myself and I learned how to turn and I learned how to do all of that stuff. And I was just really happy. I was just happy that I knew how to do it and I learned how and my mom taught me. And I was just really proud of myself and she was proud of me as well. So it was just a really cool moment. And after that I learned how to ride a bike with no training wheels. Anyways, my mom and I decided to go for a nice bike ride like a week later, and she took out her old rusty ass bike. It was so old and so rusty. It smelled like rust, it looked like rust. I think it was her childhood bike, but it was so old, and when you pedaled with it and when you braked with it, it just squeaked. It was like, it sounded like someone was dying. It was really, really bad. But anyways, we went for a bike ride and I was on my bike, she was on hers. We're both riding without training wheels, so good for me and good for her too. But we were riding down our street and right ahead of us, literally, I'm not exaggerating, it's like something out of a movie, but I promise you I'm not lying, that we saw the most beautiful and amazing harvest moon. It was probably the biggest moon I've ever seen. I can't even express how big this thing was. It just looked like a giant ball in the sky. Like you could actually reach your hand out and touch it. It was that big. It was crazy. And it was just pure orange and red, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in the sky ever. So pause on that, but that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and we just stopped riding our bikes and we just appreciated it. And it was really awesome. I mean, I'll never forget that moment, just looking into the sky, knowing that I'd accomplished something like riding my own bike without training wheels and being with my mom and just seeing that moon. It was just such a special moment. I can't really even tell you about it because it was just so amazing, but that happened and it was more like a celebration. Like seeing that moon was a celebration of me succeeding with the bike, and it just felt that way. It was really special and cool, and I'll never forget that moment. I really will never forget that. But anyways, that's the story of me riding a bike, and a little extra, the best moon I've ever seen as well. But if you have any stories about you trying to learn how to ride a bike, if you had any struggles or anything like that, please tell me in the comments below. Let me know how you learned how to ride a bike and who taught you and all of that stuff. I would love to read about that. But anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Later, everyone.